home as the first independent school, and it's going to be more of gist though, really, because this is just, it's going to be more of gist for me, because this is my reality, at least for 7 years now, a little over 7 years. Yes, I want to start by saying it's indeed a great honor for me to be in this meeting with therapists, parents, and educators who work with special children. And I want to say that though we have, there's something that joins all of us together, and it is the fact that we have love for these, our children, our loved one, or our learners, and that's what drives us. Everything that we do every day is such a great honor to be here. Thank you for having me, and thank you, my namesake, for that introduction. My head was expanding, but thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm grateful. And though all of us here, regardless of what the needs of our children are, because I know that we are all navigating different things. Some of us are navigating intellectual differences. Some of us are navigating behavioral or developmental challenges. But what we have in common is the fact that daily we are committed to loving them, supporting them, advocating for them, and celebrating them. And that is very laudable. I think we should all be proud of ourselves for that, and God will continue to help us. Now, I've been told to speak on home as the first independent school, and it's going to be more of gist though, really, because this is just, it's going to be more of gist for me, because this is my reality, at least for 7 years now, a little over 7 years. Yes. Okay. So now I know that when we hear school, what we think of is, we think of structure where instructions are given, and then there's the curriculum, textbooks, and all of that. But and we know what independence for our neurodivergent children simply means: that the ability to do things for themselves, the ability to be able to do things for themselves. And as they grow older, they'll have to make decisions for themselves too, to be able to do things on their own without our input, which is ultimately our desires, because we really don't want them to end up being liability to anybody. God forbid that they are that. Yes. And so that's the whole essence of all the support that we are giving to them. That's what independence is talking about. But early on my journey, Mrs. Philemon mentioned that I do have a son. I have a 7-year-old son who is autistic. So early on in this journey, I learned a lesson, and the lesson I learned is that the independence that I want for my son is not going to start from the four walls of maybe a formal school or anything. It's going to start from my home, from his natural environment, where he sleeps and wakes up and does everything. And I'll tell you a bit of my story. So when my son was diagnosed with autism, we got the formal diagnosis, and I'm going to explain what I mean. We got it when he was 3 years old. It was a mixed feeling. It was a lot of emotions. And I know that for all of us, regardless of what our children or our learners, our children's diagnoses are, we've walked this path. You process so many emotions. But for me, it came in segments. I would say that because I already had my suspicion that my son was autistic even before the formal diagnosis. Because before that time, I was volunteering for an online pediatric group. So I see when parents send in questions and doctors attend to those questions. So I knew a bit about autism and all of that. And then my first son, somebody suspected, or somebody thought that my son might be autistic. That's the first one. So somebody had thought about, okay, do you think maybe you should check if your first son is autistic? So that made me to have a bit of I had quite some amount of knowledge about autism. So I already had my suspicion, though I was speaking with the pediatricians, and they were telling me, oh, maybe it's just the speech delay and all of that. But you know, that mother instincts and something, I just knew, my gut feeling, I knew that something was just off and all that. And then I took the MChat. MChat is like an online screening tool. So it's free, it's online. So I decided to just use it. And the results were there, yes. It was not like MChat confirmed it for me, but I just couldn't deceive myself. Even MChat was already saying that it was flagging us red and all that. So we just got up one day, and you know that moment when you want to confront your fear, that whatever we're up against, let's just know what it is that we have before us and know how to deal with it. We just woke up one day and said, okay, we're going to get a formal diagnosis. And after all the observation and everything, the doctor said, well, you have a diagnosis, your son is autistic and all of that. You know, it's one thing when you've suspected, but when you have to face it, that yes, this thing has been confirmed, is a whole lot of because all the while that we had our suspicion, you know, there's this thing of hoping that it's not going to be true and all of that. But when we got the final diagnosis, It was fear. It was fear of the unknown, fear of the future, fear of, okay, what's going to happen with my son? What's this going to mean to his life and all of that? But there was another reality that hit me, and that was how expensive therapy was. Because when we were leaving the hospital, they gave us a list of people to contact, therapists and all of that. And I was hearing big figures, and I was like, oh. And at that moment, quite frankly, we could not afford it. But there was also something I knew, and that was the fact that I could not just sit there and do nothing. I could not just watch my son and not do anything. Like, would it just continue? When I'll be able to afford it, or will be able to afford it? So I knew that something had to be done, because there's something about me. One of my lines in life is only be afraid of standing still. Like, no matter what it is, just take one step forward and do something. So I did something. Now, fear is a very valid emotion that most of us go through when we get that diagnosis for our children. Some fear, and I'm not going to discount anybody's. We handle things differently. Fear, some denial, some confusion. Yeah, and we feel anger too. You understand? A bit of anger, fear, and all of that. Well, and for some people, it's denial. And what I just want us to, I think it's appropriate for me to put it in here at this point, that regardless of what we feel and how we process all of these things, it's not easy. But let's talk. Do I have, before I go on, please, do I have parents with special needs children in the house? Can we indicate, please? I need to know that I have my community people here with me. If we have any parents with a special need child in the house, can you just indicate? I don't know if we have. I can't see anybody indicating, but I'll just proceed. Okay. So now that feeling and all of, oh, I can't hear you. Well, it's fine. Okay.
Okay,
I can hear you now.
Some of them. Okay, they are ready. They are ready.
Oh yeah, hello my people. Now I'm feeling at home now. Yes. Thank you. Okay. So while we go through all of those emotions, what we have to know is that there's some truth that we have to tell ourselves, and it may hit us below the belt. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Rachel. Nice to have you here. It may hit below the belt, but it's the raw truth. And that truth is that the fear and all those feelings we have, if we do not channel them well, they do what it actually does is to protect our own feelings, but it does not help our children grow. It keeps us stagnated most times when we don't process it well. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we don't have the right to feel it. For Christ's sake, it's not the best of experiences. But what we do, our feelings are valid, but what we actually do with those feelings can make a whole lot of difference in our children's journey. Do you understand? I also volunteer in my church, for example, for special needs children. And sometimes I see parents who are still in the denial stage. And in my head, what I'm thinking is, yes, I agree with you. I wish I could hold your hand so I will walk through this together. But my eyes are also on the time. We don't have time. We need to act fast. What are you going to do? Yes, it is sad. Yes, how can this happen to you? I understand, but we need to move fast and time. For me, that was what, like, I got back and my husband was actually surprised at my reaction. I remember the day we got back from the hospital. Maybe my husband was expecting me to sit down, getting home, sit down, start crying. Oh, God, my baby, my this. But guess what? I just did. And I didn't deny, I didn't cover up my feelings, really. My tears were in bits. It was not a whole day of cry from morning till night. They came in batches, you understand? But one thing was for me to pinch myself and say, yes, while you are crying, this boy needs all the support. What can we do? What can we do? Because I was thinking, whenever I'm not around, what will this boy be able to cope on his own? Do I want to make him a liability to his older brother or my family or something? God forbid that anything happens to me or to his father. How is he going to cope? Because we have to look at all of those things. So I went online. I started researching. Remember, I said I could not afford all the bills that the therapists were giving me. So I started researching, started getting information online. And I realized the truth that independence can actually start from my house, from home. I didn't need a curriculum. I didn't need theories. It was just everyday living. That's all I needed for him. So in practice, like I've been talking about this independence, what did it mean for me? What it meant for me was, first, I had to identify my son's immediate need. Communication, because he was vocal. So which means he had words. So we had to get him to actually be saying more things. At least the major thing for him to be able to communicate his needs and all of that. So I started. I can't go into details, but I can tell you some things I did. I was able, by God, through God's grace, I was able to do with my son at home. Number one, I was concerned that, for most of them, their inability to communicate could actually be traced to quite a number of problem behaviors that we consider problem behaviors, because they are frustrated. They need to get this information across to you, but they cannot. So they are frustrated and they need to. So once we are able to cross that hurdle of communication barrier, it's a big deal for them. And when I say communication, I need us to also know that, see, it does not always mean vocal. For some children, it could be their AAC device or something. There's so many things that they can use. You understand? For some children, familiarize them with their PEX card, those cards that have images, and you understand, they can point to you that this is what I want to do. So for my son, we started so many things. I'll start by naming things on the house. You understand? I was just naming things in the house, and we did it. We made it in a fun way. You don't have to make it like serious, like the boy would think that, oh, he's in school or he's in therapy. Maybe while you are playing, it's like, oh, this is this, and all of, and they pick it. Now, when my son didn't know how the difference, he didn't even know yes or no. I got cardboard, I cut it out. That was how I taught him yes and no. At the beginning, it wasn't easy because he didn't know the difference. So for everything, he'll say yes, he'll say no. So then I just had to take it one step at a time. First, let him even know that there is a yes, there is a no. Then that took a while. Then we had to move to knowing when it is yes, the difference between the yes and the no. You understand? Now, when it came to another thing was I needed him to understand how to express pain. There was a time I was bothered that he was probably in pain, but he couldn't express it, and I couldn't get it. So I did. Now we do a lot of modeling too. Like I'll just say, "Oh, hurt you" or something. And funny enough, it was like it didn't make sense to the body. The day he said it, and he did it the way I did it, and appropriately too. When I say appropriately, because there was actually something wrong with him, I was surprised. So sometimes we do some things and we feel they are not picking it, but they are picking it. And you'll be shocked the day they'll say it back to you, or they'll indicate something and they'll be surprised, or they'll signal something to you. Like I said, it's not, it may not be, don't say, oh, it's verbal. Maybe this is because that child can talk. They actually do it. So some of them will drag you. Some of them will point. Some of them will do a whole lot of things. Now, and I said something about you'll make it fun. Recently, also another thing that we tend to overlook is children responding to their names. So it was recently, not too recent, I discovered that most children that we feel respond to their name actually respond to the verb after their name and not their names actually. When I say Tolu, come, and then they come, they're responding to come. It's not their name. I just realized it. It was a discovery for me. I was like, wow. And guess how I discovered it? Through my son. Because recently he went for a reassessment. I was like, he says he doesn't really respond to his name. I was like, he responds. So they said, how do you call him? And I said, no, take the verb away. That he has to respond. He has to say yes. He has to make an eye contact and all of that. And we're on the journey. We are on that journey, and he's responding. He's learning it well. We thank God. So there are so many things like that at home, because really, the home is the place that also gives you the opportunity for repeated practice, because they spend longer time at home. So you can repeat it, and it's in a natural environment. So when you're dressing them up, that may be the opportunity for you to actually teach them, okay, I put this cloth over my head, and all. You make fun out of it. Like when we're brushing, all your nursery rhymes and all of that is to create fun. That way, they feel you are playing, but in that playing, they are learning. So they are learning and they're playing. You may be sorting out clothes, and we say, okay, can you pick all the clothes that are red and all that? Now, my son didn't have the pincher grabs at the point. He used to grab his pencil or writing materials. So we had to work on that. So first, we'll get pegs. We'll be working with pegs and all of that. And then at a point, I had to get grippers. All these grippers that you put the pencils inside and all of that. That took a long while. There's this adage in Yoruba that says that the pig will get to Oyo. There might be a lot of noise. Now, the whole idea is this. See, it may take a long time and with struggle, but the goal, you will definitely achieve that goal. So we need patience, we need consistency, and we need to celebrate. Let me tell you something that we do not know. We need to celebrate them and help them, be proud of them, make them. And it's not just the perfection that we celebrate, the effort, the step. Because whether we like to admit it or not, these children like to be in charge. They're excited when they're able to do things for themselves. I remember when my son finally perfected, like feeding himself and doing everything. Now it's like he'll tell me he'll do it himself. He was excited that it was a big deal for him. And please do not let us compare. Don't say, what's the big deal? Is it feeding that I'll now be happy about, when his friends in school, all of them, they all do that, they do this, they even make sandwich themselves or anything. Let's adjust our expectations. Let us meet them at the level where they are. Let us appreciate our journeys are different. Let's celebrate them. And the thing is, we have so many stories of these children that have defied odds, that have attained, they've attained things that people never thought they were able to attain. I've heard of so many stories like that, and they are doing so well. Do you understand? Now, back to that adage I said about you get to your goal, it might take a long time. I heard recently that one of my mentors, she has an adult child that is autistic. What she does is, when she was teaching her self-care, putting on her clothes for herself, because it used to take her longer, she would wake her up earlier and get her to start earlier than her other sibling. So by the time she drags, and she'll eventually meet up with the other siblings, we just have to find a way, something like a routine that works for us. So those are practical steps. I'm still going to mention some along the way. Then another challenge we usually have as parents is, how do we know when to support and when to allow them to attain independence? You understand? Sometimes we get so emotional. Oh, my baby, I don't think he can do that. I don't think he can do this. I have a friend who has a child with special needs. It's actually, the child has it's cerebral palsy and all that. And the child has been able to learn some things and be able to do some things a bit by himself. Then she got a nanny, and the nanny came, like all affection. Yes, the nanny loved the child, was taking care of the child. But the problem now was the nanny was over pampering the child. How would I say it? So it was a regression for us, for the mom and I, when we're talking about it. The nanny was, in her own way, she was helping the child, taking care of the child, but she was taking the boy back. Because all the things the boy had learned, he should not do it by himself. He should not. But so a difficult decision had to be made. She had to discontinue that. That contract had to be terminated. Because really, as much as you have to choose one, she wasn't, and she spoke to the nanny over and over again that, I appreciate you, I like what you're doing for my child, but we can't continue like this. The goal is not to make my child an invalid. There's something I just realized that I learned from someone. They said, learned helplessness. We don't want to make our children helpless. So when you want to teach them a skill, when you know that you're in a hurry, maybe that's not the best time to teach them. If you know you don't have that patience to actually take them through, you're in a hurry, like, oh, maybe the best time to teach them how to put on their shoes, for example, is not when we are rushing, like, we have to rush to the car and all of that. Maybe you should just push it till when you know you're not in a hurry and you make fun out of it, or you're playing around, because then is not a good time, because we may just end up frustrating both of us. And then when you feel that it doesn't appear safe what this child is doing, then you have to step in. That's one of the ways that support comes in. You understand? Support your child that, no, this is not safe for this child. I need to step in here. Another place is, if you feel that the child has a bit of skill to do that size, maybe you should just sit back and, okay, let me watch what he wants to say. Not that when he picks it up, you quickly grab, you can't do that, and all of that. And you take it from the child. Oh, you're not able to do this. I need to step in now. No. If you feel they have a bit, if you can see that they have a bit of the skill to do that, allow them. If you now see that, okay, they were able to get that step, and then frustration now comes in along the way, then you can now step back. You can now, step in and say, okay, sort them out. Once they get that step, you help them sort that step that is proving difficult. Watch them to do the next one. Let's see how he or she is going to do. And then just like that, tiny bits, and they get it. And then we have to do a lot of modeling. Like, my first son is even tired of me. Why? Because we use him as our model a lot. We do lots of role plays. When I want to teach his brother something, I would have briefed his younger brother, I would have briefed him that, see, we're going to teach him this. We're going to act like this. We're going to do like this. I want you to repetition. And then he picks it with time. Sometimes you're doing it and they would even look at you like, they won't even look at you. You think they're not paying attention. See, these are special babies. They are smarter than we give them credit for. They notice a lot of things. They have emotions. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And that is going to take me to some things. I actually noted some things down this one because I cannot afford to miss any of these things out. And when it comes to practicing and teaching them and getting them to practice these life skills, I want us to note one thing. And these things are things that if we do not address them, they can be barriers to our children's ability to learn independence. And the number one thing is this: we have to love. I always say this to my fellow parents: love the child in front of you. Don't spend time grieving the child that you wish you had or you thought you would have. Don't live in your imaginary world of, oh, if this boy didn't have this, if this girl didn't have this, how it would have been. Those things steal our time, and it's still the support we should be giving our children. Love the child in front of you, not the imaginary baby. And once you love them, then you have to learn this, that our home, you understand, because what our love means to them is, it's like a catalyst. We know what a catalyst does in a chemical reaction. It makes their learning more rapid, because they can actually feel the love around them. And that takes me to the next point: our home, the energy. What kind of energy is present, do we have in our homes? They take in this energy. If they're surrounded by love, trust me, you'll be amazed by the outcome you get. And if they are ostracized or isolated and you don't get them involved, it will also reflect in what you do. In what they do, and what you see are just very sad babies who feel helpless. Show them love. love them. We need to balance the love for those that have siblings so that one sibling does not feel left out, and so that that sibling does not develop a form of rivalry or a competitive thing that, oh, this is the child that gets all the love. You have to balance it. And you also help other siblings to know that, see, this is your sibling. This is the reason why, yeah, it may appear as if he's getting a little extra of this because of this. And you'll be surprised. My first son is just 2 years older than his younger brother, but oh my God, he's my young advocate. He advocates for his brother. Like anywhere you go and you're doing something, it's all you said, no, you can't do it. Sorry, my brother is autistic. Like, so he says it where he knows that his brother is probably being misunderstood. He steps in for him, even when I'm not there. Now, we want to make sure that we want to curate our space, our home environment, to see that it's with a lot of love. And then parents, my fellow parents, I know, we want them. We want, like, we have hopes for them and all of them, but please let us meet them at the level where they are. Mrs. Adesokon's baby may be able to do this and that. Don't make that your own standard. Make your child his own standard. Make him better than where he was yesterday or where she was yesterday. Don't say, oh, this is my friend. At least I'm not the only one that has special needs. That woman too has special needs, but our own child is able to. Even for even whether cerebral palsy, whether Down syndrome, dyslexia, autism, all of that, that these things, they have varying degrees. Like autism has levels. I know that Down syndrome, I have family member that with that. Even for Downs, it varies. They have different degrees. They are not all the same. You cannot compare. So meet your child at the level where they are, and then we take one step at a time. One step, teaching them, celebrating them, supporting them. Support could also mean, in the case of set your child up for success, not for frustration. If you need to create visual cues to help them learn a task, most of them do well with visuals. Trust me. Most of them do well with visuals. If it means that you want to if you want to teach them how to wash their hands and you look for there are lots of fun videos on it on YouTube, for example. You play it to them, you'll be surprised that, oh, they want to practice it, and the washing and all of that, or brushing, or there's some lovely visuals that you can even print out and paste in your. These are ways that you can actually teach your children. Recently, I was going to cut watermelon. I wanted to slice watermelon, so I called my boys, like, come, let's slice this watermelon. I got his brother to, I sliced, I did the first slicing, then his brother did, then he had his own turn. Guess what I was able to, because by that, we were able to do one thing. Number one, I learned him turn taking. I taught him turn taking, and I also taught him how to hold the knife very well. In just that way. But to him, it was not like I was teaching, it was like he was having fun. We're just doing normal home thing, like we're slicing watermelon that we want to eat. Every opportunity, every experience is a learning experience. That's the beauty about home. And then our parents, I'm going to come to collaboration. Collaboration, we know that independence actually starts at home, but we know that it does not end at home. I mean, whatever they learn at home, in school, and in therapy sessions, it all has to connect. So we have to work together. I always tell people that work with my children. Now, before I go on to that, there's something I need to say at this point. Now, all of these things I'm saying, am I saying that it is easy? No, I can assure you. But what we do is we take one step at a time and just show up every day. Nobody has it all figured out. I don't have it all figured out, but I take one moment and one step at a time. For example, last week, I still cried my eyes out because I was in a meeting. I was trying to advocate for something for my son, and the system was fighting me back. And these were people that I expected them to know better, like they were informed. But I still saw undertone that were carrying messages of segregation, you understand? They were still that stigmatizing him and all of that. And what I saw is that some of them still had this mindset that every disability means intellectual disability. And they were not even giving my son a chance before labeling or concluding some things about him. I got home, I was heartbroken. I cried, I allowed myself, I let it out. I let out the frustration, I let out the anger, I let out everything. And after a while, I wiped my tears. I was like, okay, what's the way forward? How do I move from here? I made some calls. And I told myself, what you won't do is to give up. Nobody's coming to save us. We are the ones. We have to fight for it. No matter how much these therapists, educators, they are doing an amazing job. We appreciate them. But hey, we have to be at the forefront. We have to be at the forefront. And this will take me back to what I was, collaboration. When my son eventually we had to get an external therapist to work with him, apart from myself, I'd always worked with my son myself. Now, if I'd been recording a level of success, and yes, we recorded a lot of success, guess what? we recorded greater success with the therapists because these people have been in practice longer than me. They had something they did day in, day out. In fact, I learned a lot from them. I was like, wow, are you serious? I didn't even know that doing this, I could actually teach him this. And we recorded a lot of progress, collaboration with his class teachers. When my son, I remember that I mentioned that he had a problem with his pincher grip. Now, when we had that pincher grip, we dealt with it for over a year. He was fighting it. So the day I said, no, this one, now we have to find a permanent solution to it. So I got lots of pencil grippers and all of that. I put in his school bag. He put in his school bag. I told his teacher in school, I said, see, make sure that he doesn't hold the pencil without using this. I'm using it at home. I need it to use in school so that we're on the same page. Do you know that was how we got him to be able to hold his pencils very well? Because he was fighting it at home. Guess what? He couldn't fight it that much in school. So he had no choice. And that was how we were able to solve that problem. That's a collaboration. The teachers joined me in. We were on the same page. And did we achieve success? Yes, we did. And that's all that we are after. Achieving success, making that progress. That was how that problem was sorted. Parents, my darling parents, my community people, when therapists tell us that, see, this is what we are working on your child. We are working on your child on this skill. When you get home, you have to continue. Please don't let us tell them that, we've paid you the money. We cannot do this and all of that. No, we can't do that. How many hours do they spend in therapy? I'm yet to see a child that spends the entire day in therapy in the clinical setting. They will still go home. Let us continue. Let us work with them. Let's also not frustrate their efforts. And guess what? It's not even economically wise for us parents, because the longer they say, you'll be paying more. Because really, therapists, they need your child. It's also their joy when your child has been able to attain some level of independence and they say, oh, this child is school ready and we don't need to do the rest are things that you can actually do at home. And then your child moves from it. You should be glad. But when we keep stretching, when we keep frustrating their effort, they say, okay, this child has to be doing this. And the very thing they're trying to get the child to win the child off in clinical setting, when the child gets up, you now introduce that thing again. And the following day, what does the therapist do? They start from square one. Parents, it's a win-win situation. That's what we're after. Please, let's work. Now, you can also give them feedback. I remember there was a day in school, my son he had a funny behavior that it was unusual from what they were used to in school. So they called me from school and said, he's acting this way. We really don't know because he's never been this way. Guess what? I was on the phone there. I put them through. I said, okay, can you do this to him? Can you take him here? Can you let him get a break? Can you do this, do that, and all of that, and let me know how he's going? By the time they called me, they was like, oh, my Mrs. Megbope, thank you. It actually worked. It's much better now. He's doing that. See, it's a win-win situation. They are happy. I am happy. My mind is at rest, knowing that, well, we've been able to solve that problem. We work together. That's healthy collaboration. And so what I just want us to know is that we are never helpless. There's a lot of things that we can do for our children. And regardless of what their diagnoses are, I can assure you that each one of our children are special babies. All our babies are special. All our children are special. But these the ones I'm talking about, they have light inside of them. Every one of them, they have this light that they carry. And it is our responsibility to help them nurture it. And we can do it. Don't take everything in at once. One moment at a time, one step at a time, and celebrate yourself. Parents, we're doing great. Don't let anybody play down your efforts. We're doing a spot the difference thing. My son picked a book this week and this spot the difference. And I was still trying to explain that will he get it? And guess what? My son was able to spot it. Somebody else can say, that's what people of his age, they do already or something. I made noise about it. I celebrated. I recorded that moment. I sent it to my sisters. I sent it to his dad at work. I sent it to everyone. I was so thankful to God. Celebrate. And he was excited himself. And guess what? He wanted to continue. Let us celebrate. Independence at home is very much possible. That is where the foundation of independence is laid. And I said, it can be done. It can be done. Don't feel that you are helpless. Don't say, I cannot do this. So I've gone since morning and all of that. We're not telling you to get a table and a chair and be doing, okay, say this, say that. It's those informal moments, those things that you do for them. You teach them independence by living, by everyday routine. Like you want to feed them. Oh, open your mouth. It could be that you want to teach your child self-feeding, and all you were able to achieve in 3 months is your child's ability to hold the spoon very well. It's worth celebrating. You will celebrate that. Seemingly inconsequential. Similarly to some people, it's a big deal. Like I saw a post. Somebody said neurodivergent parents we don't celebrate perfection. You understand that every we celebrate every effort, and it's a big deal. We should even pop balloons and all of that for that. It is worth celebrating. So I hope I don't know, how am I with time? Is my time up?
No, you still have like 11 minutes till 5.
Oh, okay, till 5. Then the questions will come in at 5 o'clock, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So I just want to encourage us. There's a lot that we can do for them. I know I'll just share more about my story. You understand? Now, another thing is, my son, recently we've been talking about our why questions, his ability to teach to answer the why. So we'll just prompt them. You're having, yes, and please let us have conversations with them. Let us have conversation. There's some things that you do not see. It does not mean that you're there. You just have to water till you see those seeds now grow into plants. Although you think that they are not. Yesterday, yes, this one happened today. I played a video for them, like a calming video when they are going to bed. And I only played it once and all of that. And I was in the room. I was getting ready, trying to get dressed and getting ready for this meeting. And from my room, I heard my son singing. And this was something that he looked very uninterested when I was playing it yesterday. Never take it for granted. For a child that cannot speak, the child might just be doing, but you know that they picked something. Let us not equate. Let people not make us feel that, oh, that's it. They rise to the level of exposure that we give to them. They rise to the level of exposure. What are you exposing them? Don't conclude about them. Never, I make this a rule. Never conclude that your child cannot do anything. If you've never modeled it, you've never taught them how to, you've never exposed them to, don't conclude that they cannot. No. In fact, recently, I think I've been seeing lots of stories that has really encouraged me. We have people like Mrs. Dotun Akonde's son story. I don't know if we know Dr. Nwokolo of Shades of Life. And there are a lot of it. And then there's this story, so many platforms have put up the story about this autistic individual who is now a PhD holder, and the boy that he was non-verbal till age of, and there's so many. And see, these children, don't limit them to the diagnosis. Many of them have defied that diagnosis. I know someone who was told that her son could never talk. And today we have the boy talking. They said he could never talk. Never say never. The thing, even in medicine, doctors will tell you that, yes, like medical research will tell you that this and this is what is likely to happen. But we've always had exceptions. Now, I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to teach you, positive thinking and all of that, but be optimistic. Be optimistic. You have nothing to lose by being optimistic. But you have a lot. What you would not like is when you look back and think of, oh, this child would have been able to do this. If only I had done this. If only I had intervened at this point. But you never lose anything by being optimistic. Being optimistic means that you are giving your child the opportunity to be better, to grow, to be more independent. And give them that. But we have to be patient. And another thing I have to say, consistency. That is very key with these children. If you know you're not ready to be consistent with it, please don't start it. But we will start it because we know what the end goal is. Consistency. And you know the funny thing about most of our children, our neurodivergent children, is that most of them are routine people. Once you've taught them and it's been established, so I was speaking to somebody, I was consulting somebody with another a senior, like a therapist for my son, and he was saying something. So there's something I was thinking of enrolling my son for, and he said, no, don't enroll him. The thing about them is that once they learn something and they perfect it, it's like cement. Getting them to unlearn things can be difficult too. That's another problem. So be careful what you expose them to. If you get upset with these children and you hit them, guess what? You are teaching them violence. And to get them to stop it, they may not be able to analyze it and think of, oh, you will say, oh, I did it because I was upset. Guess what? They cannot say, for them, they saw you do it, you modeled it. That's it. And they've picked it. Be careful what you do around them. But let's be consistent. Let's show up every day. I'm saying it again. Is it easy? I'm not saying that. I'm not discounting. Our experiences are different. I've been saying this thing and I know why I'm saying it. Because I've met so many people. I saw a video of a mother with a neurodivergent child and I cried. You know why I cried? Even me, at that moment, I forgot my own. I was like, is this what she does every day? You understand? So I have learned not to discount anybody's story. I will not come out and say, we all have special needs children. So no, our journeys are different. But there's always something that unifies us. And that is the fact that we want to support our children. We want to advocate for them. And we want to celebrate their every progress. And for you just have to be able to do that, because our country, Nigeria, as much as we are glad with the level that the whole neurodivergence thing is getting to, we are making there's increasing knowledge about it and all of that, but there's still a lot that has to be done. That's why I said something the other time. I said, see, we are the one, nobody is coming. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We have to be at the forefront. We're not going to push that responsibility to somebody else. So if we really love these children, and we should love them, why? We should love them. We should be their advocates, advocate for them. And people watch the way you treat your children. People watch. If you're going to live, if you have a habit of you're always hitting your child and all of that, and you have a nanny, guess what? When you are gone and you're not there, they'll do the same with your child. That's why the energy, when I spoke about the energy in the house, it is very important. And then always carry everybody in the home along. I was telling I said it that we're teaching my son how to answer why questions and all of that. And his brother, I've taught him. So when he says something, his brother will ask him why. So that one, there's a way we prompt him for him to be able to explain why he's doing something. So let everybody, whether we have grandma in the house, whether we have our auntie around, let everybody be on the same page, so that there's no back and forth, so that we don't confuse them. When we work together, we achieve more. I can tell you this. I'm not coming here to speak a lot of English. I have seen, I can go on. There's so many things that I have, so many testimonies, and I have so many results to actually back this. It happens. You get tired. Yes, I understand. There are times that I don't feel like it, just anyhow. I understand the journey perfectly. But really, what we are looking at is the greater good. So when we feel tired, there are days we would cry. Yes, it's okay. Let the tears flow, but not for too long. Pick up yourself. The fear, the anger, frustration that you feel, channel it into something positive and saying, okay, because of this, I'm going to do this. Boy, you will be able to do this. And it's not under my watch. I will, so every support, at least know, you even as a mother, you'll feel good knowing, and or a father, you'll feel good knowing that, yes, I've done everything. I did everything that I was able to do for my son. I exposed my son to, you're not going to feel guilty about it. Because our emotions, as valid as they are, they can enslave us and slow us down. And that's, in retrospect, that's one thing I'm grateful for. Why am I grateful for it? I always tell people that I used to be a very emotional person. I'm still emotional. We're all emotional human beings. When I mean that I can cry at the drop of a hat, I still, till today, I can't explain why I did not break down when we got back from the hospital after getting my son's diagnosis. But in retrospect, I am grateful to God that I did not. You know why? If I had broken down immediately and cried for days, I would have wallowed in self-pity for a long time, and then time would have gone. But one thing I can tell you is that early intervention, and when we say early intervention, please, my story, I can share with you. I could not. That's why I reach out to mothers. I reach out to mothers that feel that, oh, there's nothing I can. We could not afford therapy at that time, but I did not give up. As long as there's a will, there'll always be a way. I found a page that was doing free training. I went for it and everything. And guess what? Even with the little I learned, those people, the page I came across, they said they designed that for parents that in the areas where they are, they don't have access to therapy. You know, there are some areas like that, and their children, they can't travel a long distance even. So for people like that, depending when the time will come, they need to actually empower themselves. You can, through your everyday routine, there's a lot that we can do for our children. You don't have to be a therapist to help your child. Don't be deceived by my QBA in progress. Long before I enrolled for that, in fact, it was because of what I was doing. Let me tell you how I started. Let me quickly tell you this before it's almost 5, my QBA journey. I took my child for GT conference. And then, you know this, after the first 2 days of the conference, you have the one-on-one family consultation. I took him, and it was there. They were asking me questions. Well, how do you do this? Oh, you're doing great. I said, why don't you consider a certification and all of that? That was what inspired my journey. So before that, I wasn't just watching the boy. And when the opportunity came for the therapy to happen, bringing professionals into the picture, it was good. We saw a difference. Together, when we are more, we achieve better. And I saw the difference. I made progress with him, but we also recorded better progress. So I hope, I don't know, as I said, I'm just speaking from my heart. I'm just trying to gist with us, but I hope somebody is encouraged. I have this thing, but like, my dear parents, don't, no matter what, shut out the noise. Don't let anybody discourage you. Don't let anybody tell you they're not going to amount to anything. It's all a lie. It is possible. Choose what you focus on. Filter your space. What stories you hear. For every unfortunate story that they tell you, there are other stories of success, of children defying odds outside. Focus on those ones. Competition is killing us. Don't compare and comparison. Don't compare your child to that. In the long run, it's not, we know that it's the end that justifies the means. Be encouraged. It is possible. Independence. Remember, just true living, no curriculum. That's all. Everyday living. You are cooking. Oh, what is this? Can you help mama put this in this and all of that? We learn. And the children won't even see it as therapy. They see it as, oh, I'm just helping mommy out, or I'm just doing this, or all of that. Okay, touch your head, shoulders, knees, and toes. All those things, teaching them things. So, okay, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the opportunity to share my experience. And I know for us to learn together, I believe that during this question and answer, I also learned from you. But remember, we have this responsibility. Our children have light inside of them. We have to nurture them and let that light shine. And God will help us to achieve this. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much. It's so good to have you. I mean, my note is full. Like, my note is full. I've learned so much this evening. I mean, even though I'm not a parent that has a child, especially, but working with these children, I don't know how it feels, but I believe it's the same way with therapists generally. There's a way you get to work with these children and you see them like they are your children. I mean, at times I'm talking to my child and I'm calling my child one of my learners' name, and I'm like, oh, he's one that I want to call. It's the passion, the love, the everything. The same way you feel for your child, we actually have that kind of connection with our learners, and so I've learned so much today. Please, you see, this question and answer segment, right, is 15 minutes. We can actually extend it to 20 minutes. But please, I want parents to take the front row. I want parents to take the front seat. Therapists, educators, please just calm down. This moment is for parents because they have their community person here. So please, let parents ask questions. Therapists, I'm sure you would have questions as well, but please, let's take questions from parents before we go ahead. Okay, somebody said, now I know I'm not alone. It's all colleagues. I want to believe.
Not. You're not. Okay. Please, what can be said to be the best school for our lovely children? Any advice, please, either in Abuja or Lagos? Okay. To respond to this question, like this decision is not that straightforward. There are lots of things that has to be put into consideration. Actually, choose your child's diagnosis, their level, do you mean inclusive school? If you mean inclusive school, then how school ready is your child? That's another thing. So can you see that it's not so straightforward? So all of this has to be, we need to clarify all of these things first before you can actually think of what school to for your child. But I feel that we can reach out to Rubies, and they may be able to put you through on this one. So it's not something that we can be answered. It's not that straightforward. Lots of questions needs to be asked, and then maybe your child, we need to ask your child been assessed and all of that. So many things has to be. So that I hope I was able to answer that question. Now, Lisa says, how do I deal with vocal stimming? You see, stimming. If I can say this, stimming is a sensory thing for our children. When is it sensory? It's something that gives them, I'm trying to break down sensory things. It gives them pleasure on their own. It's not something from outside that is causing stimming. It is something from inside of them. And guess what? Stimming is actually one of anything that is self-stimulatory that comes from their inside. It's the most difficult to get rid of. So I read somewhere, somebody said that trying to get your child to stop stimming is like trying to stop something from popping or something. It's like something that is natural. There's something, when it comes to some behaviors, parents, I have to let us know something. You don't owe anybody explanations though, for some things. If your child is stimming, is he hurting anybody when he's stimming? Do you understand? We are not out there to make anybody feel comfortable. If the child is stimming, it's their own way of regulating themselves. So trying to stop it most times, it's like you want to knock out the equilibrium. You want to tamper with the equilibrium. Do you understand? Stimming goes on. My son still stims. He could just go, and all of that. It's something that comes from inside for them. That sometimes it's not even like they can also control like that. But it goes on and off, and sometimes they outgrow it. So for that stimming, as long as it's not disturb. When I say it's not, when it comes to trying to get rid of some things with our children, it has to be something that is impairing something in their development. Is it stopping them from achieving something? Is it affecting them? Remember, they are the number one priority, not somebody else. We're not going to try to stop a behavior because, our neighbor said they don't like it, or grandma said she doesn't like the way it sounds. No, you understand? It is something that is important for the child. So if that steaming is really not, it's not like when it steams, it hurts somebody or it does anything. I think you should just allow it. Sometimes it will stop on its own. Sometimes sort some things out. The thing about them is nothing exactly completely goes on forever. After a while, they'll just self-regulate and stop it. And it may just pop up once in a while. So really, if it's not disturbing anybody, it's not causing any harm, I think we should just let it go. Let's choose our battles. It's not everything that is really what going heads on and fighting. Let's choose the bigger elephant. Thank you. I hope that answers our question. Hi, Ma. How do you manage getting overwhelmed? How do you manage getting overwhelmed and overstimulated by your child's special needs? I manage to teach my son a lot as we are trying to get a therapist, but he has ADHD and he's super smart. They usually are, but the over hyperactivity can often get to me, and it becomes overwhelming and difficult to not also overreact to him. My tribe people, I understand, and I'm sending you virtual hug. How do I manage? I thank you because you said how do I manage, because you have admitted that it's not like, I said I don't completely have it figured out, because yes, it can be overwhelming. Yes, you understand, it can, our feelings are valid, but like I said, let's just take one moment at a time. Don't think it too much. Don't consider the bigger picture too much. One moment at a time. The one let's sort the immediate one first. When it's time for, when he does it again, we'll sort this one. But this one in front of us, let's deal with it first. One moment at a time. One moment. And I have to bring in something here. Our self-care. That's another topic on its own. I don't want to go into it. Please, let's take care of ourselves. I broke down after I suffered burnout recently, and I told myself, God forbid if something should happen to me today. And guess what? That was scary for me. Since then, I don't joke with my exercise. I prioritize my rest more. I try to stay hydrated, do my checks and all of that. Please, let's prioritize it. But my darling sister, please, one moment at a time. It does get overwhelming, yes. But look at it now that it's not him. It's not him. It's not like, oh, he means to stress mommy. No. But once there's a will, there's a way, and you'll pull through. If you can, I don't know if it's okay, you can reach out to Ruby's. We can talk one-on-one and all of that. And I can't dwell too much on this, but I can just assure you that one moment at a time, one moment at a time. If you can find a community to belong to, please do. It's funny how we learn from other people's experiences too. Is that okay? So thank you. Then how do you balance caring for your child with your work? Hey, that one. Okay, the thing about me is, for me, I'm self-employed. And yes, before you say, oh, that's the reason, because you are self-employed and all of that. I have so many other side responsibilities. My self-employed does not mean I have that luxury of time. Like the moment I drop my children in school, you need to see how I race to do so many things, like before they come back, and even when they come back. Now, in my introduction, I told you that I just rounded up my coursework for my QBA. That QBA took a lot from me. Oh my God. It took a lot. I just submitted my project and all of that. And guess what? I told you I suffered burnout recently. That was the day I submitted my project. I broke down. I took ill for like a week. That balancing. God, in fact, we just take it one moment at a time. We just have to prioritize some things. We may need to take some things off. I had to drop some things for some things, really. And if you can afford to get help, please. I always tell people that asking for help is a skill on its own. If you need to get help, if you have people that can help you, your support system, please, when they offer, try those that that can help. Whatever, if you need to outsource some things, that's another thing. Maybe you have to outsource housekeeping. You have to outsource. If you need at the time, you have someone that can help you cook in bulk. Say, like, okay, help me cook in bulk. I'll stock up in the freezer and all of that, because I can imagine that if you're in paid employment, it's a lot on you. So we'll just need to. You may need to take some things out of your schedule. You may need to get some people to help you with outsource some things, and just prioritize some things. Some things are actually not as important as just set your priorities, that this one can go for now or something. And please take care of yourself. I would keep saying that. Okay. Thank you. Okay, you're welcome. Someone said it's a reflex for, okay, I guess this person is responding to the steaming. I think so. Where do I start from with my child? She's been diagnosed with Down syndrome and she's not talking yet. I don't even know the milestones or how to follow up at home after school. Now for DS2, I mentioned when I was talking that I have a family member that has a child with Down syndrome. I know that Down syndrome too, they also have they don't all present the same way. They have some of them even have medical challenges or something, and they are peculiar. Their cases are also, they can be different. They have, so it all depends. A lot of things would determine the answers to this question. As your child, what are your child's doctors saying? What are they saying that she may need, and all of that? So we have to put all of this together and start pick one at a time. But I guess you can also speak with Rubies, and they would also questions like this. Yes, what's the diagnosis? What is there, any comorbidities or anything? A lot of things has to be. Do you understand? And then when it comes to milestone, let's you have to adjust your expectations. When you say that, okay, you said you don't even know the milestone or how to follow up on school and all of that. Lots of, you can get assistance with lots of this, but adjust your expectation. Take one moment at a time and don't compare. Is that okay? We take one moment at a time. As long as we're making progress, we're fine. Okay, helps to manage. Okay, this one is also in response to the steaming. My 4+ son is speech delayed. Recently, he bites, hits, and even throws himself on the floor. What's the way forward? Can speech therapy help with this one? Okay, is speech delayed? Does he have a diagnosis? He only said that he's speech delayed. You understand? Speech delay, from what I see here, it goes beyond this child having speech delay. I see self-injurious behavior here. The child is biting himself, throwing himself on the floor. Yes, communication can actually trigger all of this, but please, can you try to get a diagnosis for this child? This is obviously more than having a speech delay. You understand? It's not our speech therapy. It seems like there might be more things we need to dig deeper to get a solution for this. Okay. I'm happy to reach out to you. What committees can parents join? Parents join to gain support here in Nigeria? Well, here in Nigeria, okay, I don't have them right on hand. I don't. There's a community that I joined one time, but I exited. Why? Because I was the only foreigner there. They're all outside the country. Things that they were saying were not really relating directly to me. But while I am not, I'll try to get some. If I can, maybe I can get it across to Rubies. What I do mostly, I don't have any group that maybe like WhatsApp group or something, but I follow a lot on Instagram. I follow a lot, like is it Canada? I think Canada, Autism Canada Mom or something. I know about Eden Rose. I know about Fatigiwa. I know Fatigiwa. There's quite a lot of them. And there's Kevin's mom. Yeah, I think sharing with Kevin or something. There are quite a number of them, and I learn a lot from them. And you can also join some, maybe Patrick's with Shades of Life. There are quite a number of pages that you can follow and find. And if you can get the booklet for GT conference, I think they usually share some contacts for some support groups. Yes, maybe if I get some, I can share with Rubies, and Rubies can put it up on the WhatsApp group. But I can't tell you one off my head right away. Okay. So
We
my
but we'll share the information after now.
Okay. There are some. Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, thank you. My son is able to recite whatever you ask him to recite after you. He's able to recite ABC and what, but he's not able to identify them separately. He's in a normal school, but can't catch up with his peers. What do I do to correct this? Okay. Um, to answer this, number one is this: I see you measuring your son against neurotypicals. I would not do that if I were you. I don't even do that for the son. When I was telling you about advocating, that's one of those things that I said my son, that was trying to advocate for my son. You cannot do that. There's something called differential learning for them. That should be introduced. You cannot compare your child. You'll be doing the child a lot of disservice, because the child has to learn at its own pace. You understand? Which means that they have to break it down further for your child. The fact that, he's in a class where he has his fellow, maybe 4-year-old, I'm just mentioning just any age, does not mean that, okay, he'll be able to do everything. For them, it's not always, I tell people that when it comes to neurodivergent children, it's not about age appropriate. It's where they are. Meet them at the level where they are. That is it. So I think you need to adjust your expectation. Number one, do not compare your child with the neurotypicals. No. Then they have to break. You have to get to the level where the child is. The child can recite. Reciting is, the child is not echoing what you're saying. There's no, it may be that the child does not even understand. You understand? So there's ways that we have to start from the scratch. You understand? If you can actually try to get help for your child, people that can work with him, meet him at that level and they build up. Can he catch up? Yes, he can catch up, but it's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be overnight. And don't put pressure on him, please. Let's meet him at his level. Thank you. Okay, potty training. Time is almost okay. Potty training is the problem. I don't wear him diapers and he can pee like 20 times. We change his shorts so many times, house is smelling of pee, but he still does not know he needs to use the potty. Sometimes he hates sitting on the potty. Any tips that could be helpful? Okay, for this one, potty training. Potty training is usually an one issue, but you need to make potty training fun. If you are very harsh with him during potty training, you will teach him to associate it with that is where mommy will now be shouting and everything. And so it's an unpleasant situation for him. So when he sees potty, he runs. You understand? Make it fun. There are even videos on potty training. Do you understand? Don't link it with a traumatic experience for him. Make it fun. Make it something he looks forward to. And then remember, one step at a time. Just randomly get him to like the potty. Maybe today he sits there for 5 seconds. Tomorrow, and if he's done that for like a week or 2 weeks, okay, he's doing that, then we move forward and gradually like that. So you have to break all the ice associated with that potty training thing. You understand? And gradually, potty training comes with a lot of patience and consistency. No off days. When you break it, you are taking him back. So by the time you want to resume again, you go back to square one. You have to be consistent. You have to be patient. And any tiny progress that is, he starts 1 second longer than he sits normally, praise him. Let him feel good that, oh my God, you did it and all of that. The Bob will be looking at you like, you understand? So please, let's, oh my God, our time is up. I don't know how we're going to do this. I couldn't please. My son is 7 years. I'm most concerned above is the fact that he doesn't have a sense of danger. Oh, most of them are not. My son will still deal with that. What I mean is, if he sees the car coming, he wouldn't move away. Or if a baby is in the bed, he doesn't know that he's supposed to be careful. I can relate perfectly, perfectly. Perfectly. When I do, you need to see how I grab my son. Like I go and pick them from school, I grab his hand to open the gate because there was a day he ran off the road and I was like, so gradually you have to let him know. Maybe you show videos that danger, car, running. There's a way you break it down. Let him know that, oh, it will hurt. You don't rush into the main road. When you see the road, when you see a car coming, you just look for basic. I'm trying to rush here, so to how to break it down for him, break it down further. Is that okay? Then for the baby, you say, oh, baby, gentle, be gentle with the baby or something. A lot of modeling and role play would also help here. We direct him to use the potty a lot. He's 5 years old. Yes, but as I said, if it's the same person, then make it fun. You can sit with him. You understand? And do something. So even if it means that you're watching potty training video while he's sitting on the potty and all of that, make it fun. Is that okay? And please don't set him up for failure. Start with the minimal time. If it's just 1 minute you can start with, I can sit on the potty. Or what am I saying? Start with 30 seconds or something. If he cannot attain that 30 seconds, take him back like 20 seconds till you get to a stage where, okay, you can conveniently sit on it for 10 seconds. Run that 10 seconds for 1 week. Is it doing well? Add 2 seconds like that. And you gradually make, like I said, consistency and patience. You need a lot of patience. You get by God's grace. I don't know, do we still continue? I know my time is up.
Okay, at this point, we actually have, I think the questions are from teachers also.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I think the last question I saw is about somebody saying she works in a school or she consults for a school and the parents enroll the child that the parent didn't tell whether the child has a diagnosis or not. I think you should just have a conversation with the parents because what you've explained there is not a typical behavior of a child. And knowing that the school doesn't have the capacity for special needs, have conversations with the parents. And if you need to invite a special needs consultant to step into the conversation and all of that, yes, you can reach out to babies. Then I saw somebody also say that autistic students of years old, okay, the person is that now class designed always because that's what we use as well, but he's now doing it all the time. How do we correct this? She mentioned something. She said that you don't owe anybody explanation for behavior. So see, not every behavior is a behavior that you say, this behavior must stop. As long as the behavior does not pose any threat to anybody, it doesn't pose threat to the child, to people around the child, it doesn't interfere with learning, you don't necessarily have to stop the behavior. The fact that the behavior does not look nice or does not look classy, I mean, even we that we claim to be typical, there are things we do that another person will see it as weird. I mean, I've seen people. There's something I used to see people do, and I used to laugh it off with one of my very close persons. Anywhere the person sees a chicken, the person is pulling the feather of the chicken to do like this, and I'll be like, "What is that? Get it? Which village are you from?" You'll be like, "You can never get it." To me, it's weird, but to the person, it's a typical behavior. Do you
Yes.
understand? We also, even with
Okay, I think if I can't hear Ruby's again, can anybody
that, you
hear
can do
me?
something that is weird to
Okay,
another person, it must stop. Hello, can you hear
okay.
me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Can I also contribute something to that? Now, maybe it's time for you to change your reward system and don't let your child be hooked on rewards.
Yes, please.
There are times to actually, you understand, don't let him be hooked on rewards by any, you can actually regulate that. You can regulate that maybe by, you can place it on extinction by not asking him to clap for himself again. Can introduce another reward system. Do you understand? We're actually supposed to vary it. So it's the same way it's not every time you say, oh, great job, great job. You just have your child saying, oh, great job, great job. It could be that you just do thumbs up or something. So vary it. That's why he's so used to it. And now he just does it. So does know
All
what to
right.
write.
Thank you so much, TS.
Thank
So much.
you.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. This is just the
Okay.
first speaker. He's the first speaker. We have 3 more speakers coming after now, 1 today and 2 tomorrow. So don't miss any session. Don't miss any session, right? You need to be here. So for the sake of people that are asking about communities, let me just quickly share about our community. So we have a community that we call the Heroes Parent Academy. Actually, we just changed the name. It used to be the Heroes Parent Academy, but now it's the Heroes Parent Group. Okay, so let me share the flyer here. So we actually started this community in 2023. Yes, we started in 2023. That was even before Ruby's became registered as an organization. And we ran it for free till January 2024. It was totally free. But then what we observed is that people, because something is totally free, you know the way we can be with free things. You don't just take it so serious, you don't put in too much into it. So it is when probably there's now an emergency, parents are now rushing out. Miss Tolu, please, I have an emergency. My child just did it. What did I do? But the things we share, they've not been following through and all of that. So that is why we actually attached a token to it. So if you look at it, this is 120,000 for a year. That is more like 10,000 naira per month. I mean, I'm sure nobody get therapy for 10,000 naira per month, right? But what you will get here, you will get free webinar where we'll bring in resource persons like TS and other people to speak to us. We'll have nutritionists, we have dietitians, we have pediatricians that will speak to us. We have child and adolescent mental health doctors and consultant psychiatrists that would bring in to speak to us. Those are some of the things you will get just for this amount of 10,000 per month. You get weekly connection tools. You see, when you don't spend time to connect with your child, I hear parents say things like, oh, my child does not listen to me. But when the therapist comes in, you see him just cooperating, sitting down. There are connection tools. There are things you need to do to get your child to that level of taking instructions from you. It's not just because you are the mother or because you are the father. There are things you are not doing correctly. So you get the free consultation sessions with me. You have access to me. You will get free consultation sessions. Those are some of the things you get. Evidence-based support strategies that is worth 300,000 naira for your child. So even though it's a community, from your free consultation sessions and other sessions you'll be able to get the targeted support for your child. And another reason why we brought this community together is because of people that said they can't afford therapy. So we've seen people that can't afford therapy and they were just like, well, whatever will be, will be. You can't afford to say whatever will be for your child. Because like our speaker rightly mentioned, it won't all you can't just leave it to chance because your child is not getting any younger. Your child is not getting any younger, so you can't leave it to chance. So you need to look for every means to start intervention. If you don't know what to do, that is why Heroes Parents Hub is here. That is why we are here, to be able to guide you through for just a token. You have free printable journals to help you keep proper record and track your child's progress. What also happens is that when you don't track your child's progress, you just feel like, well, let's just see what will happen. Let's just see. I don't even know if the child is making. I've even seen people that therapist is working with the child, right? I've even seen places where therapist is working with the child, but because probably the person was not documenting properly, the parent just like, this therapist has even been working for 6 months, has been working for 1 year. I can't even see any meaningful progress. Meanwhile, there has been progress. In fact, I used to tell my therapist, for us at Ruby's, we make videos. We are not sharing your videos on our personal page, on our social media pages. No, we are making videos for the parents. Because people do forget. Even you as a therapist, you can forget where you met the child if you don't have proper documentation. I remember we started with the parents in July, and the parents was like, no, please, I don't want to be seeing those videos. Don't just send them to me. They are discouraging to me. My child is not doing anything. I said, mommy, calm down. Don't worry. Trust us. Just trust the process. I know that if the videos can discouraging now, but I can tell you that in the next 3 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, you'll be the one saying, I want more of the videos. Let me see the videos. I'm happy at what I'm seeing. And that is exactly what happened. It wasn't even up to a month when she started saying, please, I want more of the videos. I want more of the videos. Do you get it? It helps you to be able to measure progress. So we'll give you a journal that helps you to track progress. Then 3 to 5 days access that you can always reach out to me, messages, calls, and all of that. Right? Then commitment to a system that holds you accountable yet does not judge you. You see those things that, for example, maybe in church, your child is having a meltdown and you just give your child headset just to listen to something. Apparently, some people are looking at you like, oh girl, this is how they spoil their children. No, this is not a community that judge you. This is a community that understands what you do. They hold you accountable. You must be consistent. See, it's better you don't even start than you starting and not being consistent. We will hold you accountable. You have to be consistent, right? And communities that support you without fear of stigmatization, where you can share your concerns and you're not scared of, I hope they will not judge me. I hope they will not start looking at me like my child is autistic. No, we are faith-based. That's another thing. We pray. We are doing our monthly webinars. We have one Saturday in a month that we actually pray. No. We have one Saturday in the month that we pray during our monthly webinar, but every Saturday morning we have short prayers in the morning just to pray for our child, pray for our family, pray for ourselves. And self-care, there's so much you enjoy just by being in this community for 10,000 naira only per month. But the payment is not per month. The payment is a yearly subscription. So you pay at the beginning before you enroll into the system. And the next quarter starts 1st of April 2026. 1st of April 2026, that's next year, April. And you can start making your registration, whether installment payments or you want to pay at once, whichever works for you is fine. So we encourage you to join this community. Whether you are number one, if your child is not getting any therapy, please join this community. But if your child is getting therapy, but you still need a community of mothers that understand what you're going through, you can also still join this community. We encourage you to join this community, right?